Welcome to irSidekick. Today we're talking about iRacing car liveries. Now many people don't use trading paints even though it's a free resource. Now if you're not using trading paints, go to the website. It's right here, tradingpaints.com. Sign up using your iRacing member ID. That's what creates the link between you and iRacing, your member ID. And you go to the showroom here, explore paints, and as you can see there's many wonderful paints to choose from. Now what I do is I turn off custom numbers here. Custom numbers are more of a NASCAR thing, but they can create some confusion. If you're in a rolling start and iRacing tell you to line up behind the number 19 car, but there is no 19 car because he's running a custom paint and he's actually number 24, it's frustrating and confusing. So I like to use sim-stamped numbers, so paints that don't have a number on them at all. You can choose most favorited and most race. That's where you get the most popular and perhaps the highest quality paints, but it's sometimes useful to have a look at the newest paints that are available. Something fresh to run, something different. Always interesting to have a look at what's available. So we go in here and we can pick the car that we want to select a paint for. Lots of wonderful paints here, many paints available. There's literally hundreds in most cases. So we'll just choose this award-winning paint here. You click on race this paint, confirm that action, and that's all there is to configuring paint on your car for your racing sessions. Now you can go and have a look at my paints, what I'm racing, and if we go down to the Dallara P2 and 7, you can see that's the paint that I just selected. Now to actually see those paints whilst you're racing, you need a downloader, and most people would use the Trading Paints downloader, which is this program, and these are the options that you typically want to use to get the best results. But there are alternatives to that program. There's a program called BetterTP, and of course there's our very own irSidekick livery. Let's get them up here. So in this race session, if I have a look at the driver count here, we've got 12 drivers, no AI drivers, but 9 of those drivers don't have a livery. They're either not using trading paints or they haven't selected a paint for this car. You can see beside the driver there's a status icon. The ones with a green circle and a tick, they do have a Trading Paints livery which has been downloaded and applied. The ones with an orange and a slash through it, they don't have a livery, and in that case all you get to see is an iRacing paint scheme from the paint booth, which is typically your tri-colour system where you can pick the 3 colours and the pattern and perhaps some sponsor logos that you want to put on there. Now that creates a grid that looks very outdated, primitive. There's no other car racing arcade or simulation software that creates a grid looking so terrible. It just doesn't create the best experience visually. So that's where the irSidekick random liveries features comes into play. Random liveries enables us to randomly select a livery and apply it to those drivers who don't have a livery. So we configure random liveries on the License Features tab. We'll just go here now. First we choose the random livery theme that we want to use. So the random liveries are categorized into themes. Any just means you don't care and you're happy to get a random livery from any theme. Nice is a mechanism to merge the classic and the modern themes together, and it just gives a larger pool of random liveries to use for any given race, which is handy if the race field has quite a lot of cars that need random liveries. Alternatively, for smaller fields, because there's more random liveries available, it gives a little bit more randomness to the liveries that you see race to race, and that can help prevent getting tired of seeing the same liveries popping up in every race that you compete in. Classic liveries, they're internationally recognised. Formula One would be the best example. Modern liveries, with irregular patterns, their original efforts. I've included well-known regional liveries in the modern theme, so liveries that might be well recognised within, say, Australia or the UK or Germany or America. They're well known in that region, but perhaps not internationally recognised. They don't quite classify as a classic. And then there's fun liveries. These are loud, wacky, and unconventional. It's the kind of thing that you might choose when you're unwinding the weekend with a beer and just want a bit of a laugh, perhaps mucking around on a hosted session with a bunch of friends. The fun liveries are perhaps a little bit immersion breaking, so you might not use those in official race events, but if you're in the mood, they can be entertaining. Now you can choose to apply random liveries to drivers and the AI cars separately. You can choose one or the other or both, whatever you desire. We always want to use globally synchronized random liveries. That just ensures that everybody using irSidekick livery sees the same random liveries, so that if you're talking on chat and you're saying, what's the guy in the Red Bull livery doing, that everyone is looking at the same car and we're all talking about the same livery. So I'll show you a few examples. Obviously here's a white Red Bull livery. There's also the more conventional dark black or blue livery. These are obviously from the classic theme. What's another classic one? The Bilstein, Shell, Marlboro, and of course you quite often see things like the very old but classic Golf theme. You've even got a Falcon Tyres livery here. So those are some examples of what you can expect to see in the classic theme. If we switch over and have a look at a few modern liveries, perhaps. There's an example of a modern livery. What else have I got here? Fairly bright livery there. So yeah, just original efforts that are quality paints and enjoyable to see in your race sessions. That's what you can expect from modern. And if we switch over, and I'll give you some examples of the fun theme. This is the Kraken. Here we've got Super Mario. You often see enemy liveries in the fun theme. And here's a loud and unconventional paint. Here's Barney Rubble driving his ancient rock vehicle. You'll often see things like Sticker Bomb, Japanese car culture practice. We've even got Homer Simpson. There's a few Breaking Bad liveries in there as well from time to time. So those are the sort of things that you can expect to see in the themes. So we're going to enable using random livery for drivers with no livery. We'll turn that on. We'll go back to the drivers tab, and we can see random liveries have been downloaded and applied to the cars in real time. And the status icon shows a blue circle with a blue R indicating that a random livery has been applied to that driver. So that's all you need to do, and that will operate automatically in every session that you enter into. And as you can see within iRacing here, the grid looks wonderful now. Very colourful, lots of patterns, very recognisable liveries. I'll just press play on this in slow motion so you can have a better look at it as the cars go by. So yeah, this is the sort of experience that many of us want to have. Lots of wonderful liveries. The green flag has not run yet. There we go. That's a nice grid. So a few points to note about irSidekick random liveries. So each car has a livery collection, and that has a limited number of paints that can be used. So random liveries, they're not meant to fill out an entire race grid. They're just there to fill liveries onto a select number of drivers that don't have liveries, and typically that's between 30 and 50% of the field, particularly within the rookie class. But in some of the heavily subscribed classes like the GT3 class, you'll find that 98% of all drivers are using trading paints, and they do have a paint assigned, so there isn't a great need for random liveries in that category. Now, random liveries can also be used for your local rosters. I'll just bring up AI Edit here. This is another irSidekick program, and this is used to create and paint local rosters that you want to race against or practice against locally. So we'll just create ourselves a new roster here. Let's use the Formula V. We can select our driver names. We'll take them from Formula 1, and let's go back to, say, the year 2000, the drivers that were competing in that year. I'm just going to look for the Formula V car, and there he is. So I'm going to click on that car, and I'm going to add him in. Actually, we could probably add a few cars with Skip Barber as well. So we're going to have 6 Formula Vs and maybe 4 Skip Barbers. You can select the skill range, optimism, aggression, smoothness that you want randomly applied to all of these drivers. So there's a lower limit and an upper limit, and each driver will get a random value in between those two values. So we click create. As you can see, these are all drivers' names, and the ages listed there are their actual age in that year that we selected, year 2000. And you can see we've got various skill ratings against them, but none of them have liveries, and we want to have a pretty roster to race against. So what we can do here is apply random liveries to your AI roster. That'll just go through each driver and apply one for you. It's quick and easy to use. So you hit save, and then you can go into iRacing and launch yourself a iRacing session. Now, the last point I want to make is that an enormous amount of effort went into creating the random livery feature. Thousands of liveries have been manually reviewed for inclusion, just to make sure that they're meeting iRacing rules and regulations, and that the paint is of a reasonable level that renders well and looks good. There's a synchronization server behind this facility. It costs $9 US per month to run that server, and it just makes sure that all irSidekick livery users are all seeing the same paints, the same random paints in the same session. So for those two reasons, the random liveries are a licensed feature, but the license is only a one-time $5 USD fee. So I hope you enjoy your racing. I hope irSidekick livery helps to make your races more entertaining, more picturesque. And thank you for watching this video.